Stride Audio Show.
Presented by Speak English with Us.
Have you ever tried to lighten the mood in a conversation by cracking a joke only to see everyone freeze and fall silent?
Oh, that awkward silence. I've been there. It's like you want to make things fun, but instead you end up feeling totally tongue-tied, and the moment just gets worse.
It's surprisingly common. You want to open the conversation with humor, but your joke lands flat. Maybe you used a weird punchline or the timing was off.
Exactly. And you start doubting yourself. Did I say something wrong? Am I just not funny in English? That awkward feeling makes you want to run away, right?
That's why today we're going to explore how to actually break the ice with jokes in English. 3 simple humor tips that make your speaking more natural and relaxed.
This episode is a B1 level, so it's perfect for intermediate learners who want to add some real personality to their English. But beginners are welcome too.
We'll introduce a cool thinking technique called the humor framework method. It's all about using surprise and contrast to make your jokes work naturally.
There's this idea from psychology called cognitive dissonance. That's a fancy way to say your brain laughs when something unexpected happens, like an unusual punchline.
And here's a quick question for you. How many times have you tried to crack a joke in English and felt totally tongue-tied? Just think of a number.
We're guessing it's more than once. But don't worry, by the end of this episode, you'll have simple steps to change that.
Stay until the end for our word tour, where we'll teach 5 key expressions to help you talk about humor confidently, including words like punchline and lighten the mood.
And while you're listening, we're guessing you might be at home, maybe scrolling on your phone or getting ready for a chat later. How perfect.
Later, we'll share one tiny trick to make telling jokes in English feel as easy as chatting with a good friend.
But first, let's dive into why humor feels so hard, and what you can do to finally make English laughter your new normal.
Let's start with a real scene. You walk into a small office party and everybody already knows each other. You smile, hold a paper cup, and think, please let me say something funny.
And then your brain goes blank. Your shoulders tighten, your face feels hot, and suddenly you're just standing there with that awkward half smile.
Right, and the worst part is that you can feel the pressure in your chest. You want to lighten the mood, but your mind keeps asking, what if this joke lands badly?
So you try to crack a joke about the coffee machine, because that feels safe. But then you say something like, this coffee is so strong, it could file taxes.
Okay, that's not terrible. But if the timing is off, people just nod politely and keep staring at their cups.
Exactly. And that's when you get tongue-tied. You know you wanted to laugh, but now you're stuck in your own head, and the silence feels huge.
This is where the humor framework method helps. You don't need to become a stand-up comic. You just need a small setup, a clear fact, and then a surprise turn at the end.
So the joke isn't random? It needs structure?
Yes. Think of it like a short bridge. On one side, you give a normal detail. On the other side, you put the punchline, the funny ending, or surprise part that changes the whole picture.
Okay, so the real skill is not be funny. It's be clear than twist.
That's it. And the twist works best when the listener thinks they know where you're going. Then you take a sharp turn.
Like saying, I'm so bad at mornings I put my phone in the fridge. That's silly already.
And if you want the joke to land, you can add a stronger surprise. And suddenly, my phone was ringing in the fridge. That little ending makes people picture the scene.
That image is weirdly perfect. It's funny because it's unexpected and because it sounds almost too real.
Exactly. Humor often lives in that little crack between what people expect and what they actually hear. That surprise creates a tiny mental clash, and then the laugh comes out.
So when someone feels awkward, it's not always because the joke is bad?
Not always. Sometimes the joke is okay, but the delivery is stiff. If your voice sounds tense, the whole thing feels forced. If your rhythm is natural, even a simple line can feel lighter.
That's a painful truth. I've done that. My joke was fine on paper, but my voice sounded like I was reading a warning label.
That's such a good image. And yes, if you speak like that, people don't relax. They feel the pressure with you.
So the goal isn't a perfect joke. It's a softer entrance.
Exactly. You're not performing for a crowd. You're trying to open a door. A little humor can make the room feel human again.
Let's do a quick practice example. Say the fact is, I grabbed the wrong coffee in the office.
Good. Now keep it simple. I grabbed the wrong coffee and I knew it because it tasted like a science experiment. That's already a tiny joke.
Nice. The setup is normal and the punchline gives it personality.
Yes, and you can try 3 different versions. 1, keep it small and friendly. 2, add surprise at the end. 3, pause before the punchline so people can follow you.
So if I say I grabbed the wrong coffee and it was still holding a grudge, that works because the ending is unexpected?
That's the idea. It's not about being outrageous. It's about being a little playful and a little human.
I like that. It feels less scary than trying to be brilliant.
And that fear is real. Many learners stay silent because they think humor must be perfect. But simple English humor often works better than polished jokes.
Because it sounds natural.
Exactly. If the listener can imagine the scene, the joke has a chance. If they can't picture it, the punchline has nowhere to land.
So the first lesson is build a little scene, then let the surprise do the work.
Right. And next we'll look at how to make that surprise feel even more natural so the joke doesn't sound rehearsed or awkward.
And by the way, that awkward to funny shift has a name in English practice. We'll come back to it in our word tour.
Now that we see how to set up a joke with a surprise punchline, I've tried something that really helped me. It's about practicing your tone and rhythm by recording yourself telling short, funny stories.
But wait, Maya, don't you think that can sound a bit fake? Recording yourself might make you focus too much on performance, which could make the whole thing awkward instead of natural.
I see your point, Leo, but that practice actually helps with the tongue-tied feeling. When you listen back, you notice where your voice sounds stiff or rushed. Then you can try again with more ease. It's not about acting, it's about becoming comfortable.
But what if I don't have time to record every conversation? Isn't that too forced? I mean, humor should be spontaneous.
Totally, but think of it as a warm-up. You don't have to record everything, just a few test runs. Like rehearsing for a big speech, even a little prep reduces that anxiety, and reducing awkward moments is the goal, right?
I guess so. Still, I worry some people get stuck trying to be funny instead of just talking naturally. Maybe focusing too much on cracking jokes backfires and makes conversations too mechanical.
That's where using the humor framework helps. You're not forcing jokes, you're telling simple, relatable stories that include a surprise twist. It keeps the mood light without trying too hard.
But what if the listener doesn't get the punchline? That can make the moment more awkward than if you said nothing at all.
That's a great point. Humor is a risk. Sometimes people won't laugh because of cultural differences or mood, but you can reduce that risk by keeping jokes simple and using expressions people understand.
Still, isn't it better to avoid jokes in new groups until you know the vibes? You could accidentally deepen awkwardness.
True, but silence can also make groups tense. When you lighten the mood, even a small effort can help people relax.
I don't fully buy that. Lightening the mood doesn't always need humor. A sincere question or comment about the environment can work better less chance to be misunderstood.
Yes, but humor often breaks barriers faster than a normal comment, especially for language learners wanting connection.
But if someone tries crack a joke and it backfires, their confidence might take a hit. Are we risking more harm?
It might feel risky at first, but each attempt builds comfort. And that's part of learning any language, being okay with imperfection.
Okay, so you're saying the goal isn't perfect comedy, it's building connection, even when jokes fall flat sometimes.
Exactly. Humor is a bridge, not a show. You don't have to be a stand-up star, just human and genuine.
I think I'm warming up to that idea. Maybe I've been too hard on myself about being funny.
Well, who isn't their own toughest critic? But when you start telling short, simple stories with a little twist, you're already on the right path.
So next time I'm at that awkward office party, instead of freezing, I'll try a little wrong coffee story with a surprise punchline.
And if it doesn't land perfectly, that's okay. You still light the mood and break the ice better than with silence.
I can handle a little awkwardness if it means I sound more natural and less tongue-tied.
That's the spirit. And remember, practice helps, whether it's recording yourself or just telling stories to friends.
I'll definitely give that a try. And if I ever get stuck, I can come back to this humor framework to guide me.
Exactly. And by the way, we'll continue exploring these ideas in our word tour soon.
But for now, are you ready for a quick role play? I'll act out a common awkward joke moment. You jump in when things go wrong and help me fix it.
Let's do it. These practice loops really help listeners too.
Okay, here goes. Why did the chicken cross the road? To get to the, side?
Stop. That hesitation killed the punchline. You sounded tongue-tied and uncertain.
Yeah, I froze mid-sentence. I guess that's the kind of awkward moment we've been talking about.
Exactly. When your timing is off and you stumble, the joke loses its power. Instead, try saying, "Why did the chicken cross the road?" to get to the other side, with a smile and steady tone.
Why did the chicken cross the road to get to the other side? That sounds much smoother.
And here's another natural way. Ever wonder why the chicken crosses the road? Yeah, just to get to the other side. Casual, playful, and confident.
Like that. Okay, those are two simple ways to fix a joke that feels awkward.
Remember, it's about pacing and confidence. The punchline shines when delivered clearly and naturally.
That really helps. I've also noticed when I rush jokes, people miss the surprise.
Exactly. That's why slowing down and pausing before the punchline is so valuable.
So, no more rushing to crack a joke and tripping over words.
Spot on! Better to breathe and land the punchline with style. So we've got the scene, the surprise, and the rhythm. And now it's time to zoom in on the exact words we used.
Right, because those 5 expressions, punchline, awkward, crack a joke, lighten the mood, and tongue-tied are the keys that make the whole thing click.
And once you know them, you won't just understand the joke. You'll start using it more naturally yourself.
Let's step into our word tour and break each one down with real meaning, real context, and real examples.
So let's go back to that office party for a second. The moment before the joke lands, the room is quiet and everyone's waiting.
Right, and that's where the first word lives. The punchline is the funny ending or surprise part of a joke. It's the moment that flips the meaning and gives the laugh its spark.
Exactly. In English, a punchline isn't just the end. It's the part that changes what people expected. For example, I put my phone in the fridge. Then the punchline hits. And it still got better reception than my apartment.
That's a perfect little twist. The first part is normal. Then the punchline makes it unexpected. Without that surprise, the joke just sits there, waiting.
And if the timing is off, the punchline can disappear completely. That's why the rhythm matters so much.
Which brings us to awkward. This word is used when something feels embarrassed, uncomfortable, or just too quiet. You know that awkward moment when a joke doesn't land and everybody suddenly studies the table?
Oh, yes. Awkward isn't only about people. A situation can be awkward. A silence can be awkward. Even a smile can feel awkward if you're forcing it.
I've done that. I once tried to sound relaxed, and I looked so stiff that my own joke became awkward before anyone else could react.
That's exactly the kind of moment learners need to notice. If you can name the feeling, you can work with it. Awkward is the word for that tight, uneasy space.
And when you want to move away from awkwardness, you can crack a joke. That means to say something funny. It doesn't have to be brilliant. It can be tiny, simple, and friendly.
Right. Maybe someone drops a pen, and you say, "Well, that was dramatic." That's cracking a joke. It's light, quick, and it shows you're relaxed.
Or you might say, "My coffee is doing more work than I am." That's also cracking a joke because it sounds casual and a little self-aware.
The best part is that cracking a joke isn't only about being funny. It's also about opening a space where other people can breathe a little.
Which leads nicely to lighten the mood. This phrase means to make a situation feel less serious and more relaxed. If a meeting feels tense, a small joke can lighten the mood.
Yes, and it's not always about laughter exploding everywhere. Sometimes one small line changes the energy. The room gets softer. People stop holding their breath.
So if a teammate says, "We've had a long day," you might answer, "Then we all deserve imaginary medals." That could lighten the mood without taking over the conversation.
Exactly. It works because it's gentle. It doesn't force attention. It just gives the group a little air.
And then there's tongue-tied. That one feels very real for learners. It means you're unable to speak because of nervousness. Your words are there, but they won't come out.
So true. You might know the joke, know the line, even know the punchline, but when the moment comes, you feel tongue-tied and the whole thing slips away.
I've had that happen when I try to joke in a second language. I open my mouth and my brain basically left the room.
That image is painfully accurate, but the good news is that tongue-tied moments get smaller with practice. The more you rehearse short lines, the less your mouth panics.
So the pattern is simple. Build a tiny scene. Aim for a clear punchline. Stay aware of awkward moments. Crack a joke gently, and use humor to lighten the mood.
Exactly. And if you ever feel tongue-tied, that doesn't mean you're bad at English. It just means your confidence needs a little warm-up.
Which is nice to hear because everyone has had a strange joke fall flat at least once.
Totally. And now these 5 expressions aren't just vocabulary, they're tools you can actually use when a conversation needs a little spark.
So, next time I can say, "That was an awkward pause," or "Let me crack a joke," and people will understand the intention right away.
Exactly. That's the whole point of this word tour, not memorizing words, but making them feel alive in real conversation. So today we learned that humor in English doesn't have to be risky or perfect. A good joke starts with a simple scene, then a clear punchline, and then a calm delivery that lets people relax.
Right, and we also saw that awkward moments aren't the end of the world. If you feel tongue-tied, it usually means you need a little more practice, not a new personality.
My first practical tip is this. Choose one tiny moment from your day, like the wrong coffee, a noisy bus, or a bad weather. Day and turn it into a 2-line story.
Then record it once or twice. Listen for the rhythm. And check whether the punchline comes too early, too late, or with too much tension.
And if the joke still feels awkward, keep it smaller. You don't need a big performance. You just need a natural tone that can lighten the mood.
I still remember a time I tried to sound clever and ended up sounding like a broken robot. That's when I learned that simple English can be much funnier than forced English.
Exactly. My second tip is to watch real conversations. Notice when people crack a joke, when they pause, and when the room gets quieter or softer. That pattern teaches your ear what feels natural.
And the third tip is to practice with a friend or even alone in the mirror. Say the line once, then say it again with a lighter tone. Small changes can make a huge difference.
If you take one thing from this episode, let it be this. Humor isn't about being the funniest person in the room. It's about making the room feel human.
Before you go, we want to hear from you. Tell us in the comments, which expression would you try first in a real conversation?
We read every single comment, and we love seeing how you use these phrases in your own life.
Next time, we'll keep building your spoken English confidence with another everyday skill you can use right away.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to try one tiny joke this week.
Bye for now, and good luck breaking the ice.